You know what I can't stand in the Caribbean is bad service. I'm tired of it. Seriously tired of it. Why it is that we don't really want to take care of people? Why it is that we feel like the people must have attitude? When a customer coming to you and giving you their feedback on a product or service that you're offering and telling you X, Y, and Z, why it is that you need to decide to be defensive rather than to listen, to hear, to see, to understand what it is, how it is that your product or service is actually being experienced by them, and how it is that it is possibly not meeting the needs that they have, and how it is that you can improve so that you can be better at doing what it is that you're supposed to do to them so that you can retain them as a client and perhaps even increase in the business that you get from them, either through them directly or because of the fact that you have done such a great job with them that they actually refer you to other people so that they multiply your revenue as a result of the engagement that you have with them. What make customer service is such a thing where people are full of attitude? Like seriously, like why you don't recognize that training people is an important thing? I would actually love to be given an opportunity to train more customer service personnel in organizations, and this is going from everything from banks to government agencies all around. We have no concept of how to even the basic things like talking to people, like dealing with conflict, understanding and not taking things personally, and also trying to even solve people's problems. I've been told by a an agent in a telecoms company that when I was overpaying, because I was told that my bill was gonna increase by a certain amount, and I noticed that it had increased. Um, After the bill started coming in, it actually increased like double, triple times what I had agreed to. So I contacted the person via email, and who had who I had also been given email confirmation that it would have only been X amount, not X times three. And I'm like, hello, you said it was going to be X, but yet it's X times three. What's going on? The person said, yes, it is only X amount, as I told you. And if you need help to understand your bill, you can call 111. This is what the person wrote to me in email. And I'm like, what? On the what? Hello? What? So I was overpaying X times three for 5 entire months. I finally went into to an office to pay for a bill, and I spoke to the person at the front desk, and I was trying to explain to her what was going on, and I did explain to her what was going on, and I was trying to show her proof and stuff. And at one point, she was nice, yeah, but at one point she's like, "What, you have to stop and let me do it, or else I won't be able to." And I'm like, so I just stayed quiet and sat with it and just asked her, you know what? Could you just resolve this thing on your own and follow up with me via a telephone call or email? And she did. In fairness, she did follow up. And she called me later on in the evening at the end of the day, and she said, truth is that you have been overpaying X times three, and something was supposed to have been taken off from your previous arrangement. But because of the adjustment that you agreed to, that should have been removed. It was not removed, and as a result of that, it has affected your bill, and you've been pretty much been paying 3 times more than you were supposed to have been paying. So we do owe you some money for. So essentially, the next few bills are paid already, and I'm going to be credited with that. But I was actually made to feel like I'm some sort of pariah for talking. I needed to do basic. I didn't understand a bill. I need to call 111 for them to 114 to be explained to understand how a bill works. Like, this is the kind of rudeness, the kind of, like, I don't know what qualifies people to be put in customer service? How are they training people? How are they actually dealing with people? And I said to the lady at the front desk who I spoke about, I said, listen, you guys need to get this thing right, because you have competition. I really don't have to deal with this. If you don't sort this out, I'm just going to have to move, because this is foolishness. And the problem is, in many cases in the Caribbean, there is no competition, whether it's for government agencies or it's for certain kinds of business, especially if you're dealing with like dealers, like car dealers, where there's only one dealer in a complete market. It's not like in the States where you can have multiple dealers for the same car, for the same brand. And so, there is competition. Everybody is trying to jostle for your dollar. So because of the lack of competition, people kind of get complacent and feel like, well, if you want X car, you have to come here. You can't buy it anywhere else. But people are becoming much more discerning with their money, because they have to work really hard for it, and they want to have a good experience when it is that they are doing business. And quite frankly, people don't have time to be nitpicking and following up and doing basic things. I'm having issues with banks. And then the problem is, when you call and you give them the feedback that they should be taking on board to improve the quality of the product and the service that they're offering, they're taking so much offense that they're not actually benefiting from the improvements that would ironically also make their own lives better. So when it is that you refuse to invest in training, customer service development, coaching people in terms of communication, in terms of how to listen, in terms of how to solve problems, how to deal with conflict resolutions, how to not take things personally. I had to deal with a bank issue just now, and I had to tell this lady, like, listen, seriously, it is not up to you to tell me that my experience is invalid. It is up to you to tell me to understand that my experience is valid. And no, it is not my internet. This has happened multiple times. In serious ways, you cannot tell me that you guys don't have a problem, because you cannot stay in customer service and know that there isn't a problem. That is not enough. You can listen, take it on board, and relay this information to the relevant departments that a customer has reported X, Y, and Z, and this has happened X, Y, and Z times. This is something that the customer has just noted that's been happening in the last 2 weeks. It didn't happen with that person before, so this bears looking into. That's all. That's all. Thank you for that. I apologize for that, ma'am, and yada yada. I'll pass it on to the relevant department. But just don't shut it down at the beginning. And or the lack of the not wanting to take feedback is something that is really cultural in the Caribbean. People don't want to hear what you have to say. People take offense. People take offense serious. So this is why you have to train people to work with the culture of the location, so that you can make certain that your culture, the culture of the people, is not counter to the culture of the experience that you want to have your customers to have. I'm tired, but I'm willing to do more training for Caribbean organizations. I've lived in the Middle East for how long, and let me tell you something about the Middle East. They know how to do service right. Let me tell you something about Asia. They know how to do service right. We're losing out on millions and billions because we are caught up in ourselves and not investing in this critical area. So listen, send some money my way so that I can help you multiply, because you're leaving a lot of money on the table and you need to stop.